You've been told these foods are good for you, but in menopause, they're basically belly fat bombs. And I guarantee that at least 3 of them are in your kitchen right now. Hello, gorgeous girl. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, hi, I'm Tracy. I'm 50 years old. Welcome to my home. And I love talking about all things fitness, wellness, menopause, beauty, all the things. And today we are diving in to a topic that so many women get really confused about, and that is food and nutrition. And first, before we even dive in, let me just remind you, it is not your fault. There is so much like sexy marketing when it comes to food and nutrition, where if they slap on like non-GMO or gluten-free on a label, we think like, oh, this is amazing. It's so healthy for us. So we're not gonna fall prey to any of those little tricks. Oh, no, 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 my friend. And this isn't about fear either, but it's about empowering yourself with knowledge. So without further ado, let's dive in. This is something that I used to eat back in the day, and that is overnight oats. Sometimes they'll add a little maple syrup to it and maybe even a chia seed. It sounds like the ultimate healthy breakfast meal, right? Wrong. Oats have been shown to really spike our glucose level, which, especially if you're in menopause, I probably don't need to tell you that we are so much more sensitive to sugar, eating more sugar. Like if I am eating more sugar, I see it immediately in my body, especially in my waistline and even in my face. And the other thing with an overnight oats sort of typical situation is there's absolutely no protein in it. So you're gonna be starving again in like 90 minutes. In order for us to feel satisfied and to not be hungry constantly, we need to be eating more protein. So the only way that I would recommend overnight oats, if you're really craving oats, is that you at least add a scoop of a really high quality protein to it so that at least you're getting around 20 grams of protein in your overnight oats. Gluten-free snacks sounds healthy. There's no gluten in it, so it must be better for us, right? Not necessarily. You know, there's so many gluten-free snack foods that are out there, but most of them, again, are just not great for us, especially for those of us like me that are in menopause. It's usually just rice, potato, or cornstarch, and those really can, again, spike that blood sugar. Those ingredients digest fast, spike our insulin, and over time can definitely lead to an increased belly fat. And the other thing to watch out for with these gluten-free snacks, you know, read your labels, you always have to be a detective, is you want to look out for seed oils. They're often laden with seed oils, and seed oils are really highly inflammatory. And so on top of having that, you know, corn, rice, or potato starch, then you're adding the fuel to the fire with the seed oils. So your body is just working so hard to process these seemingly healthy gluten-free snacks. Now, of course, if you're someone with celiac or you have a condition where you really can't eat gluten, I totally get it. But there's always better and, quite honestly, more real food options that are available for you for snacks. So you're trying to lose some belly fat, so you tell yourself, you know what, I'm gonna start every day with a green juice, right? Again, not so fast. Even though they look so innocent, so healthy because they're green, right? Most green juices are really fruit forward. So rather than being a vegetable-based juice, it's more fruit so that it tastes more palatable, but that ends up becoming a sugar bomb for your body. I mean, some green juices can have 20 to 30 grams of sugar alone. And the other reason why I don't like juices is the fiber is stripped out. Now, I am a huge fan of smoothies because the fiber is still intact, which is gonna help you with your digestion, make you feel full longer, and if you add protein to that smoothie, even better. And if you add some healthy fat, you are going to be satisfied for a good long stretch of time. But if you're just drinking that green juice, delicious though it may be, it's likely gonna spike that blood sugar, and it's definitely not gonna keep you satisfied. You know, here in Miami, there's so many of those sort of like easy, healthy, kind of grab it and go places here. And one thing that they have, and they sell so many of, and I see so many, especially students buying them, are the little energy balls or bliss balls, right? They seem so healthy, they've got real ingredients, and while that's true, they are, again, sugar bombs. And at this age and stage, we do not need a sugar bomb for our waistline. Just because something is labeled as natural doesn't mean that it's going to be good for your metabolism or your waistline. Most of these energy balls, bliss balls, or whatever kind of cute name that they have, they usually have dates as their first ingredient. And while, yes, it's a naturally occurring form of sugar, it's still really a high concentration of sugar. And then they couple them usually with nut butter. So you're getting a lot of dense fat along with a lot of sugar. And, sure, once in a while that might be fine. But if you're eating them on a daily thinking you're doing something so good for your body, you're wrong. And two other things that I have an issue with. There's really like no protein in them. Yeah, sure, they've got the nut butters, but you would have to eat so many of them for that to really make an impact on your body. And the other reason why I kind of have a problem with bliss balls, date balls, whatever you want to call them, the little balls, is that they're small, right? So it's really easy for you to mindlessly, all of a sudden you've eaten 4 or 6 of them and you didn't even realize it. So I really think that you could do a better choice. If you're looking for something a little bit naturally sweet, I wouldn't go for that. I would do actually like an apple with a little bit of nut butter and some cinnamon on it, because how many apples are you really gonna eat? Probably just one. And if you just portion out the nut butter, it's not gonna cause so much impact on your body, and it's not gonna be so dense from a caloric standpoint. Oh my gosh, when I tell you, back in the day, I had a boyfriend, so this is a long, long time ago, who was like the king of coconut water. He was from Brazil and was like, it's a natural diuretic. And I was like, the thing has like 25 to 30 grams of sugar in it. So do not be fooled by coconut water. And if your smoothies, if you're going to like a cafe or something, you're buying a smoothie, make sure that they're not using coconut water. Yes, is it naturally sweet? Absolutely. But again, if you're having this regularly, you are really doing a serious disservice. Now, I know some people are like, well, it's a natural electrolyte. Let me tell you something. You want to have electrolytes? Here's what you do. You have a glass of water and you have an electrolyte that's high quality, that doesn't have any sugar, any colors, any junk added. You put that in, you shake it up, you're done. And that's not going to make such a huge impact on your waistline and have you have that dreaded menopausal middle. I used to love this, and I kind of still want to love it, but I know what it does for my body, and unfortunately my body has told me you can't love this anymore, and that's oatmeal. We think back in the day, like hippy dippy, like oats, like oat bars is so great for you, right? But unless you're doing something to actively add protein to your oatmeal, again, you're gonna be starving an hour later, you're not gonna feel satisfied, you're not getting that protein, and you're getting a glucose spike, which is going to potentially lead to belly fat. And think about it, how many of you just eat oatmeal alone? No, you don't do that, right? You add a little bit of sweetener, maybe it's maple syrup, maybe it's some honey on it, right? And then you wanna add some fruit to it. No, not berries, we're gonna add some mango or some pineapple. Make it like tropical oatmeal. Then you are looking at a literal sugar bomb once again. So I hate to be the bearer of bad news, and I'm not saying you can't sometimes enjoy oatmeal. Absolutely you can, but just know that you're consciously making this choice that might not be the best choice when it comes to your midsection. Enjoy it, but don't make this a regular habit unless, of course, you are actively adding protein to it. Now, this is something when we think about really healthy people, what's one thing that they always are eating? Yogurt, right? But yogurt is not necessarily for everyone the healthiest choice. First of all, if you're having regular yogurt, why? Why would you do that? Get the Greek yogurt. The Greek yogurt has so much more protein than regular yogurt. And if you are having that already sweetened or flavored yogurt, just don't do that. Like seriously, don't do that. Put any kind of flavorings, fruit, even if you want a little jam in it, do it yourself. Why? Because then you have more control in it. Get a sugar-free jam. Not meaning like that there's chemicals or all kinds of crap added to it, but that it's literally just a fruit jam, or even better, if it's one that you make yourself. But if you're having regular yogurt that is already pre-sweetened, you're having low protein plus high sugar, and that is not the combination that we want, especially if you're in menopause. This is something I love, and I had to really adjust my palate and my habits so that I could get off of this, because it was kind of like a drug, and that is dried fruit. I'm the kind of girl that I honestly just cannot keep a lot of dried fruit in my house because I will eat it and then I'll get a tummy ache, and it's just so much sugar because all the water is taken out of your fruit, right? Fresh fruit, you've got hydration, you've got the water in it naturally. And again, like I was saying earlier, how many apples are you really gonna eat? But if you eat dried apples, how many will you eat? If you're like me, you're probably gonna eat a bag of dried apples. So don't think of dried fruit as something because it's fruit that you can just eat freely. Now, again, I'm not here to be an extremist, so can you ever eat dried fruit? Of course. But what I would think of it is more like a garnish, you know? Like, let's say you are having a Greek yogurt and you want to add a little bit of dried fruit to it. Add some maybe chopped nuts to it, maybe some chia seeds, and then maybe you're gonna put a little bit of dried fruit, just like a little garnish, like a teaspoon of dried fruit or a tablespoon, but you're not gonna eat like a bag of dried fruit. And if you're even giving that to your kids, it's almost as much sugar as candy, so just choose wisely. And finally, with dried fruit, you often can have more cravings throughout the day, so you're just really better off eating real fruit. Protein bars, right? A healthy option, especially if you are a wellness girly, right? Wrong, my friends. So many are full of sugar. So they're basically glorified candy bars. And also they have, again, seed oils, and even worse, some can have sugar alcohols in them, which can lead to bloating and digestive upset. Now, I get it. I am a protein bar girly. I love them, but you must be a detective. There's 2 brands that I actually am enjoying right now that I highly recommend. Aloha bars, no seed oils, low in sugar. And then if I want something a little higher in sugar, I think of this as like more of a treat protein bar, are the True bars. They're delicious, no junk, no crappy ingredients, and kind of just gets the job done, especially like if you're traveling and the options are pretty bleak. But here's a big hot tip with protein bars. You have to think of it as a meal. These aren't really snacks. Now the True bars are kind of small, so sometimes I will cut like a half a True bar and have that be like sort of a sweet treat for me. But in general, it is like, it's a grab and go breakfast before I go to Pilates or something like that. So just be mindful with your consumption of protein bars and make sure that you are avoiding the ones with crappy ingredients, fillers, seed oils, and all kinds of junk that you just don't need. And this one kills me because my husband does it all the time. We want a wrap, right? It's not a sandwich, it's a wrap, so it's healthier. Wrong, my friends. Those giant tortillas that they use to wrap up your sandwich, they're like the equivalent of like 4 slices of bread. They're usually processed, they contain preservatives, and of course, inflammatory oils, which we are trying to avoid. And then of course, what you're actually putting in the wrap. Are there sauces? Is there cheese? Is it like a fried chicken situation? So you wanna really be mindful. Now, I'm not saying that you can't ever eat a wrap, but just be mindful. I think that you're better off getting something like a siete wrap or a tortilla that's just, number one, smaller in size, but also that you can actually read and understand the ingredients. It's much better. Now, I've also heard that Siete Foods was sold and that maybe in some locations the ingredients are different, but I haven't actually found that myself. So you can let me know in the comments. So that's what I've got for you, my gorgeous girls. Listen, we do not have to just accept that menopausal middle at this age and stage of our life. It's just about making really smart choices, informed choices, and knowing what you're actually eating. So let's get active in the comments. I definitely want to hear from you. And if you want to keep hanging with me here on YouTube, make sure to check out this video next.